This session is all about steps for strategic marketing in your student organization. So, jumping right in, one of the most important steps to having successful marketing is to designate a marketing and social media role within your org if you're able to. This usually involves designating one person or a team of people to oversee all of your marketing, all of your graphic design, all of your posting. If you're able to have multiple team members, it helps to delegate specific roles and tasks such as graphic design, photography for events, managing accounts, responding to direct messages on those accounts. That can be really helpful in making sure you're covering all your bases. If your organization is smaller, it's also just as possible that you have one person doing this role and managing all these things effectively, but having someone who it's their designated job to make sure your events, your recruitment, who you are, anything that you're trying to advertise or marketing is getting out there. Having a designated team for that is super important. As another reminder, um, if you are advertising an event that has contracted providers, all your contracts must be fully executed through Campus Life before you advertise that provider. Now, one thing that you can do and that we encourage orgs to do is to go ahead and put your event on a calendar. You can put the name of the event, you can put just the date and time, and you can include a note that just says more details to come, performer announced soon. That way you can get your event on students' calendars, even if you don't have the green light to advertise your contracted provider because you don't have your contract executed yet. So that's one way to get a jump on your marketing, even if your contracts are lagging. Some helpful steps to market an event. First, we advise that orgs begin preparing around a month an event, just for the advertising piece of an event. Now, the planning piece of event is separate and in a part of a different module of the registration training. But for marketing, it's important to start early, especially if you're going to be using rentable spaces such as a banner at the Arch or tabling space in Norris. These spaces need to be booked in advance, so it's important to get a jump on that. Um, it also helps to start planning in advance. That way you can get all of your details worked out with your events planning team, and make sure you know who, what, when, and why, and what your advertising is going to look like. We also recommend finding a system that works for you and your team. Sometimes Google Calendar can be helpful. Slack or GroupMe can be good for communication. We also love using Canva at SOA. You can use templates for calendars and agendas. You can also use this for your graphic design or other marketing tools you want to use, such as videos. Canva is a great resource for that, but just a system where you can centralize your marketing plan, where everyone on the team and whoever's involved in your organization can, see what's going on and can stay on task. And this kind of bleeds into the next piece, which is create a schedule of when you'll be posting on your accounts, or when you'll be hanging flyers, or when you'll be chalking, and set deadlines for that to be done. Especially if you're posting on accounts, set deadlines for graphic design to be finished, maybe a day in advance. Um, that way that, when the day comes where you're scheduled to post, you're not flailing because you don't have your content ready. Update your calendar and your task list frequently so that everyone on your marketing team is aware of where everyone is at, what needs to be done, what's still being worked on, and what's ready to go. And we suggest you start publishing content at least 2 weeks before your event. This doesn't have to be a big flood right at the beginning. It can literally be you put your event on the calendar 2 weeks before. We advise getting your event on the calendar as soon as possible, but you know, 2 weeks before is a great amount of time for people to see your event and get that on their personal calendars. And continue to market and advertise your event right up to the start time. You never know when you're going to catch somebody's attention. Um, so make sure you're, regularly pushing out content, maybe building up in concentration as you get closer to the event. So, maybe one feed post on your Instagram a week before, maybe a series of story posts the week of, another post on your feed, another story post, just kind of building up traction and getting more attention towards your event as you lead up to it. Some helpful tips for market plan or marketing plans. One good thing to keep in mind is to think about your end goal and plan backwards. So if you really want undergraduates to know about your event and attend, think about where undergraduates would be. Where are you going to find undergraduates? And that might be Norris. So you might go ahead and rent screen space in Norris or a table in Norris. Um, and just work backwards from the big picture things that you want and then boil that down to the small things, and that can help you figure out when to post, what to post, um, and also help upkeep the communication between other members of your team if you have certain communication. So if your end goal is to really put the emphasis on marketing your speaker, make sure your event planning team is getting their contracts executed so you can start to market that speaker sooner. We also recommend diversifying your market outreach and use different mediums over time. So, kind of as I mentioned before, maybe you start by posting about your event online, then you move into posting flyers, then you move into chalking on the ground, and then you go back to posting on your own Instagram account. And then you can also reach out to the SOA Instagram account to promote your event. And this can be another way to expand your reach. Also, be sure to use accessible formatting and marketing and advertising. Make sure that in graphic design, your fonts are legible, everything is clear, easy to read, um, so that everyone can see what exactly you're communicating to them. Also, keep in mind that you need to be selling your event. There's so much going on at Northwestern, usually multiple events happening at the same time during the same day. So it's important that you really are telling your audience why your event is important. So make sure your audience knows who is welcome at your event. If this is something that is specifically geared towards students who are looking to pursue a certain career path, make sure that is clear in your advertising. If this is something that is particularly for seniors or just for freshmen, make sure that that is um, marketed with your event. Also, if you're hosting a speaker or any kind of guest, make sure you explain who that person is and why what they're saying is important. Why is what they're saying relevant to the student body? What can they gain from attending your event and learning more from this person? And all of this kind of bleeds into the don't forget the why. What is the purpose of your event and how does it serve your attendees? These are really important things that students want to know. They want to know what they'll get out of an event. Maybe that's just a fun time. Maybe that's just team building. Maybe that's networking, making friends, or maybe that's, really strong career advice. But whatever it is, make sure it's communicated clearly on your marketing, so that students know what your event's all about. Also, don't forget to highlight good perks like free food or merch, or professional opportunities or fun activities that might be available at your event. This is another thing that will help draw students in, and continue to pull them to your events in the future as well. And yeah, that's all we have for our strategic marketing section. Of course, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to SOA at any time. We'd be happy to lend an ear to any event you're planning on advertising. Thanks so much.